let's start normalizing pores, people. Like,
We are
normal. We're all human. We're all born with pores.
Yeah. This one is a classic one. So tomato and cucumber on your face.
Please stop raiding your fridges, guys. Leave your fridge alone. Food is for eating, not for putting on your face. Cold water icing your face will only give you a headache.
Okay. All right.
Some things that could potentially cause acne include skimmed milk, not regular milk, skimmed milk. Yeah, I've had those days back in middle school where I tried to pop pimple with like a pencil or like kankai or something like that.
You did that?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Ooh,
I
okay.
know. The longer the ingredient list is, the more of a chance someone will have a reaction to the ingredients. The best skincare is usually the most boring skincare.
If you're being too like exciting with your skincare, maybe you're doing it wrong.
You're definitely doing it wrong.
Yeah. This is Community Featuring. My name is Vic and welcome to the show. So we're living in a content creation era where anybody could be a famous YouTuber or an influential TikToker. And that, I think, safe to say, is the dream of most young people of this generation. But you know what else is the dream of most young people of this generation? Is to build and own their brand and business. Now, let's combine the two together. Wouldn't that be doubly great? I mean, making great content, right? Gaining lots of views, followers, and fame, plus making great product and attracting lots of customers and changing their lives for the better. And while you're at it, making lots of money from it, right? Well, not very easy, but not impossible either. Our guest today has definitely done it, and I'm sure we can learn a lot from him today. So let's welcome คุณอิง สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Hi, thank you so much for coming.
Hi, you're very welcome. I'm so excited to be here. This is actually my first interview in English
Whoa,
ever.
We are honored. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, but like I said, so each thing by itself is already hard to succeed in, right? Like building business, building content. Yeah, but you have done it, and
I mean, it's an amazing story. I'm amazed at the story itself because I feel like my life was not paved towards this at all. And so it came as a surprise to me as well. But it has its own challenges.
yeah, but of course, people know you from รายการพลิกหลังกล่อง review skincare จากมุมมองส่วนผสม Yeah, so that's your stance, that's your tagline.
Yes.
That you are a skincare review program from an ingredients perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that a lot also today because the guru is here today, so we might as well take
I'm
advantage
very
of
flattered. Thank you.
him being here. All right, so but first of all, your English is excellent, and
thank you.
Yeah, I watch your show also, and I always admire how you use great Thai and great English like equally.
Thank you. It hasn't always been that way because when I first started YouTube, my English, I would say, was much better than my Thai. And so I got a lot of comments and feedback from a lot of people who... Some people think that it's very like ดัดจริต to like code switch all the time and like ไทยคำอังกฤษคำ but it was truly who I was at the time. Like my Thai was just not that strong, so my brain switched between Thai and English very often. So I had to really practice my Thai after the first few clips. And I think it also came with the fact that I watched more Thai YouTubers, watched a lot of Thai media, and so my Thai became a lot better, and so that's why I can sort of switch between the two languages much more fluently now.
Oh, that's good. But and I have to say, when I watch your channel, your content, I can learn about skincare as well as English. Also, because you talk about lots of like English term, especially like skincare related.
Yeah. A lot of people, the first thing that they noticed about me when I started my channel was my pronunciation of ingredients, so like niacinamide, or like the really hard scientific English words.
Right.
I feel like that was sort of one of the selling points of my channel
Of
in the
course.
beginning.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, how come he can like say all those words like super fluently and like at super high speed, like you talk like human language. Is that human language? but you are great at it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you educated me a lot too. At least I can say I can tell the difference between like in vitro or in vivo
Oh,
and stuff like that.
wow.
See, guys, I'm amazed at myself too because
He's a เด็กหน้าห้อง everyone.
แล้วพยายามจำสิ่งนี้มาบอกว่าเพชรทุนคุณครูด้วยนะว่า
Oh,
look at
straight A
how good I
student.
am but I enjoy that because as a community we always like amazed by like new words like especially words we know that exist and the concept we know existing but we didn't quite have the word for it and every time we came across the word we were like ooh now we have the word for it.
Oh, I'm exactly the same way, but with the Thai language.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes my friends say these words and I'm like, แปลว่าอะไร? And then they have to translate it for me.
Right. And the same thing we have in common, your channel and ours, is that every time we use English and forget to translate, people would speak up, right?
Yes, all the time. But I'm always happy to help people to understand more
Yeah.
English words as well. So I try to at least have subtitles or like text inserts, or
Yeah.
sometimes I also try to speak more Thai.
So how is your English this great? Like, did you go to international school? Did you spend time abroad or what?
I have to thank my parents for this because they saw the importance of English when I was born. And so I was sent to an international nursery even before entering like kindergarten.
Super early.
Yeah, super early. So you could say my Thai and my English was like brought up together.
Yep.
And so after nursery, I went to RIS, Ramudi International School, and I stayed there for 13 years, all up
Yeah, of
until
course.
graduating high school. And then afterwards, I went to college in the US, so
I see.
New York and Los Angeles.
For how many years?
Only for 4 years, and then I came back.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. So which one do you like better? Like NYC or LA?
I mean, well, to clarify, it was upstate New York. So it was a 7-hour drive from New York City.
It's not like downtown Fifth Avenue.
It's not the Manhattan that people have in their heads.
Okay.
But so that's why I didn't really enjoy that because it was
Oh.
very rural
I see.
and very cold. Yeah, so
okay.
I spent a year and a half there and then I moved to Los Angeles and I really enjoyed LA much better.
Yeah, I think people can even think of New York as like a rural anything, right? It's like, oh, it's big city.
Exactly, but it's such a big state. Like
Yeah.
it's like like almost a 2-hour plane ride to cover state to
Wow.
state, like the borders
see.
of the state.
I see.
And I think it's a misconception that people have that New York is
Yeah.
just the New York City, but it's actually much bigger than that. But if you talk about New York City, I really enjoyed that. I feel like it's such a vibrant city, much
Right.
more exciting than LA in terms of the city itself, I think.
Yeah, but like weather-wise,
But weather-wise,
LA.
yeah, LA is so much better. It's like
Yeah.
sunny year-round, 20 degrees, always windy, no clouds.
right? Okay, let's go back 4 years ago.
Okay.
So we all know what happened 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So around 2020,
Yes.
that's when COVID hit. And actually, that was when you posted your very first video on your channel.
Yes.
Right.
So it was 4 years ago. Time really flies. So during COVID, I was actually working at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was a consultant. But because of COVID, we had the opportunity to work from home. And so I actually had a lot more free time on my hands. And I took out my iPad. It was the front camera of the iPad. And I put it on the floor and then I just started to film my first YouTube video.
Just like that.
Just like that. And then it went viral. Like the first video went viral. And so
Wow.
I really hit the jackpot on that one. I
Yeah.
think. But I think it's because it's such a very new concept for the Thai market, content market. I reviewed skincare from a scientific, from an ingredients perspective. And I think because I saw Western YouTubers do that, but I haven't seen or I didn't see any Thai YouTubers speak in that regards yet. So
I
that's
see.
why I wanted to make content that I myself wanted to see. Because I also had background in skincare formulation. My family does, they produce skincare as well. So I had all this knowledge and know-how.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to share with the world and help them or help people choose skincare, become a smarter consumer and choose the right skincare for themselves.
Yeah. So from your very early age, the first thing you remember is that your family is doing this kind of business,
Yeah.
like all the skincare, the cream, moisturizer, and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Because my family business, it started from my grandparents. So my grandfather was actually the
Wow.
founder of this factory, and then he passed it on to my dad and his extended family as well. So ever since I was very young, I helped my dad, mix mascaras, like try on lipstick colors.
Wow.
Yeah, so
ในข
it
ณะ
was.
ที่คนหนึ่งก็เล่นทอยตัวตุ่นไป
Oh, I was like making lip gloss at the factory.
Wow. Okay. All right. So it's like family inheritance
Yeah.
too.
But to be fair, I wasn't all that interested, to be honest, with cosmetics and skincare growing up because
Okay.
it was just something that my family did, but not necessarily something that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Not until much later as an adult, like after college, when I had really bad acne, and then it brought me back to studying about the skin and then realizing that, wait a second, my family does skincare.
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of the spark that led me back to the family business. And
Yeah.
to this day, I'm really glad that I'm someone who suffers with acne, even though
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
cumbersome sometimes.
Turned out to be like a blessing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was sort of like destiny. I don't know.
And I think that is what happened to a lot of founders or like business starter. Like they started by solving their own problem.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Being the solution that you want to see, I think, with my content as well as the skincare brand.
And for sure, a lot of people in the world has the same problem
Yeah.
as you.
It's a very universal problem. Everyone has skin problems, dry
is
skin,
true.
oily skin.
Yeah.
So I think it's much more universal than people actually realize.
But I'm curious, like if like skincare business wasn't your interest at first, then what did you want to do or like imagine yourself to be in the future at the point?
So I didn't know what I wanted to do.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to music school in New York.
Oh.
Yeah, because I really liked to sing and play the piano. And then it turned out to be very competitive and I didn't really enjoy it. So I transferred into business school in LA. So I graduated with this business degree and all this know-how of how to start your own business, how to run a business. But I didn't know what type of business I wanted to get into. And so I was lost for many, many years. I went into consulting and then I didn't really enjoy that. And well, I think I was really lucky that I started to make the YouTube videos while I was in consulting because it was sort of my way out. And into something that I truly enjoyed at the time, which was skincare.
And it's kind of ironic that the thing that you should do the most is like the nearest thing.
I know.
Yeah.
It was so close to me all along.
Right. Wow. But it is a good thing that you eventually found it. Like,
Yes.
this is where I belong.
I know.
guess.
It's such a good feeling. And a lot of people ask me about how to find your passion. And that's why I really think I'm really lucky in that regard that I found my passion and I somehow made it a career.
Yeah.
And so every day that I go to work, it's like my passion and something that I truly enjoy doing.
Wow, that is so nice. So I think I saw your videos first, and then I found out later that you were doing your own product. So is that in that order, right? Like
Yes, I
content
started with
first
the
and then
content.
product later?
Yes, so content for about 2 years, and then the product came out after.
So it's not like you already have your own cream and you want to sell it and you do like
No.
content marketing about it.
No, it honestly, the content really just started from my passion because I suffer, still do today, from a lot of acne. And
I see no trace of acne now.
it's because of the skincare that I make.
What was the name again?
Ingu.
ขายของ
Shopee Lazada
ขึ้นโลโก้ครับ
But yeah, so I really relate to a lot of people who have trouble finding the right skincare for their skin.
Yeah.
And that's why I came up with the channel because I wanted to give people the tools to look beyond the marketing and really go back to the science. make it easy to digest for most people to help them choose what's right for them and not listen so much to marketing that more often than not makes them choose the wrong things.
And most of the things you use as a tool on your channel is like facts,
Yes.
researches, studies.
Yes.
So you're talking like science, right?
Yes.
And even though you have all these facts and all this like credibility or image of someone who might be like in the business, you always have to keep posting this disclaimer that you are
Yes.
not a medical professional.
I'm really not a medical professional, guys. It's a big misunderstanding that a lot of people have. But at the same time, I also think that it's up to me to enlighten people that in the skincare space, there's actually multiple career paths or jobs out there. So doctors don't have the monopoly on skincare knowledge. Like there are formulators, there are marketers, there are
Yeah.
people who work in R&D. So actually getting a diverse perspective from many people in different paths or career
Right.
paths within the industry is the best thing that you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
So I always say, don't just listen to me, listen to doctors, listen to toxicologists, listen to other people as well. And then
Yeah.
only then will you be able to formulate a really cohesive understanding on your own.
But what you talk on your channel is like practically what's on the back of the box of the package, right?
Yes.
So if someone is like attentive enough or really curious about, they can just take a look and read and research, right?
Yes.
But the problem is most people don't do that.
They don't. And
Yeah.
I totally understand where they're coming from because it's
Yeah.
very tedious. Like the texts are so small, sometimes you
I
need a
know.
magnifying glass.
Right. Yeah.
And reading studies, understanding studies is an acquired skill. It's not something that someone can just wake up one day and decide that they want to read studies. It's
Okay.
something that you really have to practice. And I credit this to all of my education and my background that has allowed me to be able to comprehend these papers really quickly. And I also took other courses in university as well, specifically in regards to scientific papers and reading, comprehending papers.
Yeah. And you're always honest about your opinion or your research or your science-backed opinion.
Yes.
Let's just say that. And you're straightforward. You're like, sometimes no sugarcoating at all. Like, this is it. This is not it.
Yeah, because I feel honestly, when I started the channel, I thought it was something completely normal to do because I've been watching all these Western YouTubers and they go in hard, like harder than I've ever gone in.
Yeah.
But it's just the norm in Western
Right.
culture. And so it was a culture shock for me,
Yeah.
the feedback that I received in
I
the
was
first
about to
couple
ask,
videos.
like, did that shock people? Like, how can you be so, like,
I
blunt?
shocked them and they shocked me as well.
Okay. Like, how
Because-
is this not normal?
I know, and because I think I managed to pinpoint exactly why. It's because when I critique a certain brand or a certain product, some consumers associate the product with their personality. And so they think that I'm critiquing their personality by critiquing the product or their lifestyle.
Gotcha.
So for example, when I talk about a really expensive cream that's like 10,000 baht, by critiquing that brand or that product, certain people think that I'm critiquing their lifestyle.
It's like
and
you're attacking them.
disapproving or attacking their lifestyle, but in reality, I'm really not. I'm just talking about the ingredients behind the box or the formulation, and I'm using studies to back up everything that I say.
Yeah. So it's not a personal attack whatsoever.
Not at all. Not at all. But it's also been an adjustment for me.
Yeah.
I had to tone down a little
Okay,
bit, but
yeah.
still stay true to my core values.
Like at least aware that some people might have this kind of thought.
Yes.
That you're attacking me for using this.
And I don't blame them at all. I
Yeah.
just think that it's a difference in culture and that I also had to adapt into the culture in this country as well.
Right. I also love how you talk about not overusing products too.
Yes.
Because if you're someone, let's say if you're just wanting to sell your products or you're like getting money from like clients who pays you to like sell their creams. For example, you might be like, oh, use this and then use this and keep using it like a
Yes.
lot, but you're not for that.
I'm really not for that. Actually, one of the main reasons why I started YouTube was because of that. I think one of the biggest problem in the industry is people recommend too many products for people. And so the average consumer uses like 10 products on their face nowadays with the Korean 10-step routine trend and all of this influencer marketing campaigns that want people to use more and more and more. When in actuality, our skin is an organ that is really smart. It doesn't need a lot of products at all to function properly. And so more often than not, putting or using more products can actually make the skin worse. So that's something that I always say on my channel. And even with my brand, I always say you only need a cleanser, a good cleanser to clean your face, a moisturizer to เพิ่มความชุ่มชื้น
okay.
code switching again.
Just moisten your
yeah,
skin.
a moisturizer and a sunscreen to protect your skin.
Yeah.
And those three are the basic core foundations of a skincare routine.
Yeah.
And anything else, like a toner, sheet mask, like scrubs, whatever, it's more often than not really required or not
see.
really good for your skin.
Now that we're at it, because we actually have this segment called like skincare myth busters with Ingu, and this is number one on our list.
Oh,
that
okay.
Is it true that the more product you use, the better your skin will get?
absolutely
Because
not.
you have mentioned like 10 plus step for like pampering your skin.
Oh, absolutely not. It's
Okay.
it's a huge myth.
Let's do the next one then.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Having fair skin with pinkish undertone equals good skin. Like ขาวอมชมพู
no.
We keep hearing about this.
No, the skin quality does not, it's not correlated with your skin color. So the skin's color comes from melanin, a pigment underneath the skin that gives your skin the color that it is, but it doesn't have anything to do with if your skin's healthy or
The
not.
health of the skin. Okay. All right. Good to know. Okay. And another word that keeps popping up all the time, like glass skin. Glass skin or poreless looking skin. And people do want that, right?
A lot of people want that. Yes.
So is it good to have?
Let's start normalizing pores, people. Like pores
We
are
are human.
normal. We're all human. We're all born with pores.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to get rid of pores because they serve a very important function for our body.
Yeah.
It secretes sebum, like sweat, like it's part of our organ. So let's not try to erase. And it's impossible to erase pores.
Yeah. So pores are normal.
Pores are normal.
Because you know what? Maybe you've seen some like science fiction, right? Sci-fi of like an android wanting to be a human. And one thing that they do is try to like add pores. Because otherwise
yes.
they can, it's like plastic-like skin. But
So,
that's not human-like.
It's not human. Being
Yeah.
human means having pores, guys.
รูขุมขนน้องไม่ผิดอะไร
ลูกขมอย่า
น้อง
อย่า
เขาไม่
ไป
ผิดน้อง
แบบ
ไม่ผิด
ลูกขมขนคือแบบขอโทษลูกขมขนด้วย ขอโทษแทนทุกคน
แต่ว่า how about like making it smaller?
Well,
As small as you can.
so there's a couple ways that you can approach that. Usually the pores, they look big or bigger than they usually are because of loss in collagen. So collagen is what makes the skin like plump. And so if you imagine you losing collagen when you get older or if you're in the sun all the time, then the pores will appear larger because the collagen's been degraded. And so what you can do is use skincare or active ingredients that can stimulate collagen production. And so that could theoretically make your pores appear smaller.
But pores are always be there.
But pores will always be there.
Okay. อย่ารังเกียจน้องนะครับ
ใช่ค่ะ
น้องไม่ผิดอะไร Okay, washing your face with icy water every day can shrink your pore size. Again, with the pore.
Again, with the pores.
Yeah.
This myth comes from the fact that next to our pores exists a muscle called the erector pili muscle. And so that muscle sort of comes up whenever there's cold or whenever our skin experiences coldness.
And it shrinks.
And so
kinda?
that's why we get goosebumps. So like อะไรนะ
ขนลุก
ขนลุก yes
Yeah.
ขนลุก and so people think that ขนลุกmeans the pores are shrinking but in actuality it has to do with the muscle underneath and not at all with the pores
It has nothing to do
nothing
with
to
the
do with the
size
pores yeah
of
so
the pores.
cold water icing your face will only give you a headache
Okay. All right. Okay. Next, some ingredients work against each other and should not be applied together. Is this true?
Chemically speaking, in terms of like chemicals, not very often do ingredients clash with each other. But I think what people mean when they say that is using a lot of strong ingredients together
On top of each
yes,
other, like-
exactly can potentially be too sensitizing or too irritating for your skin because it's just exfoliating the top part of the skin too much. So, for
Okay.
example, if you're using vitamin A and then an acid toner, an acid mask, followed by a scrub, then of course you're exfoliating, and so your skin will definitely become more irritated. Yes,
It'll shout like, no more.
no more, please, no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's where the myth comes from is people layer too many active ingredients together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one is a classic one. So tomato and cucumber on your face. Would that give you better looking skin?
Please stop raiding your fridges, guys. Leave your fridge alone. Food is for eating, not for putting on your face.
Like not at all like vitamin C.
Okay, here's the thing. There is vitamin C in, say, an orange,
Yeah.
but when we put vitamin C in skincare, it's at a very, very, very concentrated level. So we make vitamin C up molecularly in a lab, and we can control exactly how much we want and leave out all the other sensitizing molecules or ingredients that we don't want. And so we use that to formulate in skincare so that we get the exact dose that we want, not too much, not too little. It's much better than slicing up an orange and then praying to God or hoping that this has enough vitamin C in there or that it doesn't have the sensitizing ingredients.
Yeah.
So using DIY or coming up with your own like formulas, chopping
Yeah.
up fruits and vegetables and putting it on your face can actually be more of a risk. And definitely you're not getting enough of the good active ingredients from those fruits as
Yeah.
compared to using a properly formulated skincare where scientists have done their work, have put in hours and hours to formulate for you.
Yeah, okay. But sometimes like a homemade product is not that efficient. Yeah. Because I can imagine like what they're thinking is that, okay, I'm applying the fresh produce onto my face like directly. How cannot
I just got
it be
goosebumps.
better?
I just got goosebumps.
Okay, all right.
I think it's just people need to realize that modern science has been such a blessing for us as a society. We don't have to chop up fruits anymore because decades, centuries of research has been done for us so that we can use or get those ingredients in a properly formulated skincare. And skincare comes in all prices these days. You can find good stuff for a very affordable price as well. Sometimes even more like bang for your buck than buying fruits from the supermarket
Oh,
and
that's
chopping
true.
it up.
Yeah. ครีมซองอาจจะถูกกว่าแตงโมหรือ
Exactly. โอ้ยของแพงนะเดี๋ยวนี้
หรือส้มจีนแพงๆอะไรบางอย่าง
Yeah, people แบบ I เห็นแบบ people use avocado on their face. Avocado ลูกละ100 นะ Excuse me.
So expensive.
Just find a good skincare, please.
Okay, all right. So are we clear on that? Good. Okay. Okay, another classic one. Like chocolate and greasy food cause acne.
Oh, this is an interesting one. So there hasn't been any research to suggest that greasy food causes acne directly.
Really?
Yeah, but consuming certain types of things could potentially lead to acne, but it's an area that's not well studied. So some things that could potentially cause acne include skimmed milk, not regular milk, skimmed milk.
Okay.
But we don't know how. Scientists hypothesize that it could be because of the hormones in the skimmed milk.
But from the stats.
Yeah, there is a correlation, but yeah, we don't really know for sure.
Okay.
But sweet food, sweets, candies, carbohydrates, anything that is sweet could potentially cause acne. And we have quite a bit of study on this because potentially it increases the amount of sebum that our skin produces. And sebum, or the oil in our skin, sebum is one of the contributing factors to acne.
I see.
So that's why, like, ในทางอ้อม it might contribute to acne. Yeah,
I see.
but greasy food, fried food, not so much, I think.
Okay. All right. But it might cause other problems.
Yes.
So, maybe not skin, but other problems.
Yeah, and
that
actually,
we kind of know for sure.
Yeah, and causing other problems could lead back to acne. So that in a way, maybe like
I see. Indirectly, no?
like inflammation
Yeah.
is one of the causes of acne as well. So maybe there is something there.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So jade rollers or gua sha,
yes.
gua sha, yeah, can provide lymphatic drainage benefits and detoxification for the skin.
Okay, so that is actually true. Lymphatic drainage is กำจัดน้ำเหลือง Yes, กำจัดน้ำเหลือง is actually something that's been done for like thousands of years in Asian culture. But do you actually need a roller, like an expensive jade roller? Not really. You could just use your fingers. Your God-given hands and fingers.
Yeah. So it works as well.
It looks just the same. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no need to shell out so much money for a luxury product unless it brings you joy.
Okay.
I'm never one to like,
deprive
discourage-
everybody of their
people.
joy.
Exactly. Because skincare is self-care for a lot of people, including myself. And so if massaging your face for 10 minutes every day with the gua sha brings you joy, then by all means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
You do
so.
you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Applying toothpaste on pimples dries them out. No?
Oh, dries them out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, it is drying for sure.
Okay. But not curing.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's drying because the main ingredient in toothpaste is surfactants. The same stuff that cleans your skin, that cleans your dishes. It's the same thing that cleans your teeth.
Okay.
So, and they're usually very harsh surfactants, sodium lauryl sulfate, the same ones that you find in dishwashing, like sunlight or like ถูพื้น. So putting it on your pimple is not a good idea at all because the area, it's too strong. Yeah, the area where the pimple is on the skin is an area where the skin's very fragile. The skin barrier is basically damaged. And so the last thing that you want to do is put or inflict more damage onto the skin. So if you have a pimple, I suggest using like a pimple patch or using like calming ingredients. Maybe exfoliate the skin gently, but never try to scrub it out. Try to like use toothpaste or squeeze lime or lemon on it. Just be gentle.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I've had those days back in middle school where I tried to pop a pimple with like a pencil or like กรรไกร or stuff like that.
You did that?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Ooh,
I know.
okay.
เป็นแบบ yeah, I'm really ashamed of it. I still have scars from that to
มัน
this
ก็มี
day.
dark age เนอะที่เราไม่รู้ยังไม่รู้อะไร
Yeah, everyone has.
You didn't know any better.
Exactly. So actually, my goal from Pik Lang Gong is to get people to like skip that dark age. Because when I was growing up, we didn't have all this like resources and people talking about how to actually take care of your skin the proper way. It's just marketing from brands and influencers that try to push products. So in a way, I'm really glad that the younger generation have much better resources than I did growing up.
Good. Right? The next one, actually, I kind of know what you would think about because I've heard you talk on your channel before.
I'm bracing myself.
Yeah, but I want you to actually say it on the show for the sake of the viewers, okay? Sunscreens are killing coral reef.
Oh my God, this is a very, very sensitive topic. I have to choose my words very carefully.
Okay.
Because I have gotten into a lot of trouble talking about this topic.
On that video I've seen,
Yes,
I think,
every time I talk about this, there's conversations. So what I'm going to say is there's a lot of differing views on this topic. My opinion is there's so much more in the world that's contributing to coral reefs dying, global warming, the agriculture industry putting chemicals into the ocean. There's a list of like 20 things that are killing corals before you get to sunscreens.
Yeah.
And so focusing all of your energy into finding coral-friendly sunscreens, to me,
beach friendly, as they call it, right?
To me, it just seems like you're putting or you're expending energy into the wrong thing.
Okay.
If you want to save coral reefs, you should be demanding politicians to enforce better laws, to tackle climate change, not deprive people from sunscreen, which is the thing that's saving most people from getting skin cancer. I'm speaking as a producer who, in recent years, we've had our options very, very limited in terms of the sunscreen filters that we can use to formulate a proper sunscreen with really good protection because of the fear mongering around certain filters killing coral reefs. And actually, if you go back to look at all the studies, or some of the studies, most of them are done on coral reefs in tanks, and they pour in like an insane amount of sunscreen filters into these tanks, and then they observe that the corals die. So of course they're gonna die. You're putting like
Maybe we might die too if we are living in a tank with like a gallon of sunscreen.
Exactly. And so another thing that I want to point out is even the coral-friendly sunscreens use filters that have been demonstrated with the same types of studies that if you pour those filters into these tanks, the coral also dies. So it's like you're demonizing certain filters, but at the same time, you're also using certain filters that have the same studies showing that they kill coral.
Even though it's very controversial, but I think it needs to be controversial. We
Yes.
need to have this conversation. At least we are not led by like one-sided information or like
Exactly.
group of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree with you. You don't have to agree with me 100%, but at least I want you to take what I say into consideration when you're formulating your own opinion about whether sunscreen kills coral reefs or not.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Are you ready for the last one
Yes.
on the Mythbuster? Okay. Actually, this comes from my own curiosity because I kind of kept hearing things about this. Okay. So you should stick to one brand and use it continuously, no switching around to get a better result. So if I wanted like moisten my skin, I should use like pick one brand and then 6 to 8 weeks wait for it to like yield results, not like keep switching around products.
That's exactly what you should do. That's like the number one thing that dermatologists recommend you to do when you're trying to find skincare for yourself. Because our skin, naturally, it takes like 30 days for it to completely exfoliate itself and then become like new skin. So you can't just use a product for a week and then expect any results. Anything that you see comes from using it at least 30 days. Realistically, more like 3 to 6 months. Because all the studies that we do on skincare ingredients are done from like 3, 6, 12 months
Yeah.
onwards. So yeah, I think you definitely need to be consistent with your skincare, especially because switching often means that you're more at risk for contact dermatitis or like อาการแพ้ส่วนผสม because
Your skin will get confused.
pretty much like everyone has certain ingredients that they're allergic to, and it's different for everyone.
Okay.
So I always say that people should try to minimize the amount of ingredients that they use on their skin because they never know which ingredient is going to trigger an allergic reaction. So switching skincare often increases your risk of finding that jackpot ingredient that makes your skin like inflamed or like แพ้ขึ้นมา. Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
even with like my own brand, all of the ingredients I try to keep to a super minimal ingredient list, like because if the longer the ingredient list is, the more of a chance someone will have a reaction to the ingredients. So skinimalism is what I call it. Like use less ingredients and also use less products and be consistent with the ones that you're using.
Oh, that is so good. Because actually, this might have to do with the concept or the behavior of people these days. Like FOMO thing, you know, like, this is so
absolutely.
trending. So I need to try this.
Absolutely.
And then another thing comes up. Oh, I cannot miss this.
Exactly, because skincare has become fast fashion. And it didn't used to be this way. I think with the introduction of influencer culture, especially with TikTok, everything has to be cutting edge, the latest, the newest, whatever's trending, I have to have it on my face. And this is exactly the opposite of what you should be doing for your skin. Because as I've said, your skin is a very smart organ. You don't really need to do much to it. I think the best skincare is usually the most boring skincare that you can find.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're being too like exciting with your skincare, maybe you're doing it wrong.
You're definitely doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I get that people have fun with skincare, and it should be fun. But
Yeah.
if you're someone who has experienced skin problems your entire life, then you should really be looking at the other direction. You should really
Okay.
be scaling back, asking yourself exactly what you're using, knowing how to use it, and being consistent with it. That's your best bet.
Okay. So now can I ask a question for myself?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm someone who's pretty fortunate because I don't have like huge skincare problem. So I'm pretty thick skin, like literally.
You're very lucky though.
Yeah. So for someone who has like no major problem with the skin, can it be more fun? Like I said before, like switching things around if it's not that like specific to fixing a problem, like moisturizer. Like, can I use like one moisturizer today and tomorrow I use another one, stuff like that?
Well, yes, because I mean, if you're someone who can use pretty much anything, then you could have fun with skincare, I think.
Okay.
But at the same time, I also think that you should also be looking at the point of view of sustainability, which is something that I always preach on this channel because
Okay.
skincare or the beauty industry is one of the biggest contributors to plastic waste in this world, especially with skincare becoming fast fashion. I don't remember the figures, but it's an insane amount of plastic. And I feel responsible for this as well because with the content creator career and the factory and the brand as well, there's a lot of waste that we create every single day. So what I always try to emphasize on the channel is, how to recycle products, how to make sure that you're extending the life cycle of the packaging as much as possible and reducing the amount of skincare you use because it's not just good for your skin, but it's also good for the earth.
Yeah.
the
So
planet.
your own product, Inku, also does the PCR, right? Like
Yes.
post-consumer
Oh,
recycle.
you've done your homework.
Oh yes.
Good job.
Yeah, but I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because there's a lot of greenwashing in the skincare packaging space. Greenwashing meaning fok like some brands claim to be more sustainable than they actually are. For example, a brand could be using glass packaging and could be claiming that they're much more sustainable than plastic packaging. But in actuality, when you look at the data, glass is much heavier. So it requires more carbon, more energy to produce and to transport. And it also breaks, like more often than not, it breaks before it gets to the recycling station. So it becomes useless. Meanwhile, plastic is much lighter, much cheaper, and much easier to recycle. So this is the bigger picture that not a lot of people see. So when I started with Ingu, I thought to myself, how do we come up with the most sustainable packaging solution without greenwashing? So I came upon PCR because I think the recycling habits in Thai people are not as, it doesn't come as naturally to Thais as opposed to foreigners. So there's not a big recycling culture, and there's also not good recycling infrastructure in Thailand. And so I wanted to use PCR because at least I recycled the plastic for you at the production stage. So even if you don't recycle it after you finish using it, at least we've recycled it once for you. So that's why I came upon PCR. And I think it's the perfect solution for the Thai market currently.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Another thing I admire of what your brand does is you use a lot of local ingredients.
Yes,
right?
we do.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
So, because my family's been in the industry for so long, I have known since a very young age that our country has some of the best natural resources and extracts. But it's just that not a lot of people use them or research them or ต่อยอด these like extracts because it might not sound as sexy as like green tea from Korea or Jeju Island or green tea from Japan even. So one of my goals for Ingu was to really dive deep into these extracts, find them, support the local economy, support researchers, professors at universities, and get good data from these extracts and use them in our skincare. I'm also looking to expand Ingu abroad. I think it'll be a great selling point for Ingu if I can promote Thai agricultural products as well.
And a lot of people are happy with your products.
I'm very glad. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, how has the feedback been?
We just celebrated our second anniversary a couple weeks ago. And honestly, it's grown so quickly, much more quickly than I could have ever imagined. And I'm very grateful for everyone for supporting me, supporting the channel, supporting our brand, supporting what we stand for. Yeah, I'm just so lucky. I look back 2 years ago and the first lot that I produced that I planned to sell, I think I made like 10,000 units. And I thought to myself like, oh my God, how many years am I gonna have to live through to try and sell 10,000 units of this? And I had cold feet like the day before production. I was like, maybe we should scale backแบบ5,000 2,000 ก็พอแล้ว But we sold out in like 10 minutes. And it's just been record-breaking sales ever since then. Every single month, it's growth from the first day we started. And it's taken me by like, it's just, I can't even, I'm still at loss for words.
You mentioned that you are lucky with your business, and I believe you, but it cannot be the only thing. I think you might require luck in some part, but other part, you need to like put in your like sweat and effort and like time and energy. And the thing that I mentioned at the very first, at the very beginning of this episode is that this is not something that people can just do, but you pull it. Like you do great content and at the same time, you do great product. So yeah, the big question is, what is the secret here? What do you do to achieve doing both?
I have a twin, a stunt double.
Oh, that's a good idea.
The person you see on Pik Langkong is not me anymore. It's a hired actor, guys.
So would that mean you have to like work like doubly hard?
Yeah. It's been a journey of training myself to be able to handle more and more and more. Like if I look at my schedule today from like 2 years ago, if that person looked at my schedule today, he would have fainted. Like he would have thought no way is this like possible for a human being. But somehow throughout the years, I've trained myself to be able to manage my time better and be smarter in the ways that I work and the way that I manage people to help do the work as well. So I wouldn't be here today, definitely, if not for my family and all of my wonderful employees at both Ingu and Pik Langkong.
The team.
Right? Like,
so important.
Honestly, I would not be here without them. Definitely in the beginning, it was just me and my brother in like a room with like 30-year-old AC at the corner of the room, just packing the products.
ไม่ใช่ประหยัดไฟเบอร์ 5 แน่นอน
แล้วแบบ like 10,000 ชิ้นอาทิตย์แรก
Oh God.
But I have to admit that my family has been in the business for a while, and so they have a lot of the know-how to really help me and my brother. My brother's also running the business with me, the Ingu business with me, and so they've really allowed us to run. So whatever we imagine, it can be made possible much more quickly because of the help and the foundation that we've had. So I'm really, really lucky in that regards. Like maybe not in terms of financial help because I made it a goal not to rely on my parents for any money when I started the business, but in terms of the know-how, like their experience of being in the industry for decades, like they've really helped me so much. And my employees, I think because we have a very clear goal, a very passionate leader, it all came from the YouTube channel, which is very เด็กรุ่นใหม่อ่ะ it's very like high energy and so we've managed to attract a lot of good talent a lot of Gen Z แบบพร้อมวิ่ง like very passionate about the projects as well
Yeah.
so that's how we were able to grow so quickly
And I think it's the kind of energy that you are like displaying in your channel too, like from yourself. Like this is the kind of energy that I want to run with. Right?
Yes. And we have at Ingu, we have core values. We have 5 of them. We've talked a lot about some of them already, like the sustainability part, the empowering local producers part, the transparency, simplicity in ingredients. So all of these core values, they have to be inside every single employee. ตั้งแต่ like management level until like เด็กแพ็คของคนขับรถส่งของ like everyone in the organization has to believe in the core values and have it in their DNA
And how do you communicate it? How do you like make sure it's gonna be like built in and fostered in?
Very funny actually my mom she ให้ everyone คัดลายมือ
Really?
5 core value ของ Ingu คืออะไร
Oh my God, that's such an old school
I know,
practice,
I know.
and it works.
This is the
Man.
first time I've ever told this story, but
Wow.
But yeah, and she had cash prizes for people who like sent it in or submitted in first.
Incentive.
Yes, but okay, that's a very like mechanical way of doing it.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is we lead by example, and so everything we do, all of our products, research and development, marketing, communication, everything reflects back to the core values, and so. Everyone in the organization sees that and wants to contribute to the core values as well. So that's how I think we were able to solidify the DNA of the brand.
Another thing I noticed and I wanted to ask you about is the collaboration between generations. It's like generation of your parents
yes,
and
yes,
then
yes.
your generation, or might be someone younger than you are, and they can like kind of work together. And I think the very interesting thing is that you still ask for the wisdom from
Oh yes, I love this
the generation
question.
that comes before you. And how do you find it like can be applicable to what you're doing like in the new world
Right.
thing?
So actually, it's much harder than it looks. There's been moments where we've had like major arguments about how to run the company, but in the end, it's my company, and it's my company and my brother's company, and so the final call is with us. But there's definitely been a lot of conflicts. For example, in managing people, my mom specializes in HR, and so she's very specific about what she thinks is the right thing to do. For example, and like this is a very classic example, employees need to come into work by 8:45 a.m. every day
okay.
and leave at 6 and then scan รอยนิ้วมือ
Okay.
every day.
All right.
We still have arguments about this to this day because I'm very relaxed about working hours. I'm like, if you
Flexible
can,
hours,
yeah, if
man.
you can come in at like 10:30, you want to leave at 5, but all your work is complete, like to the quality, to the standard that I want, then it's fine. Like, who am I to like go in and micromanage your life? But my mom is very, very, very against it. Like every day, like. คนนี้ไม่นั่งอยู่ที่โต๊ะลงไปเซเว่นอีกแล้ว I'm like mom chill like
Okay.
ไม่เคยอยู่ที่โต๊ะเลยอะไรอย่างเงี้ย Yeah, but that's just a very minor example. But there's also
Yeah.
like bigger problems that we argue about. What I usually do is I lead by instinct. What do I feel is the right thing to do? Because I've also been an employee before at a large company, PwC. I've interned at like Ogilvy, at like large global companies before. And I remembered as an intern, as like a graduate working there, how I felt about certain things.
Yeah.
And I promised myself then that if I was ever in like a leading position, that I wouldn't subject my employees to the same treatment that I received back then. So like working hours is one of them. And so that's why I lead by, you know, what I feel is the right thing for the new generation. But at the same time, as you've mentioned, there's also so much wisdom that my parents have that are so valuable to me. Because they've done it and they've done it successfully for years and years, like stuff about numbers maybe that I'm not very well versed in, or strategy, you know, some of their instincts. It's impossible for someone like me with 2 years experience in the industry to know. So that's been very helpful to me.
Yeah, and I like it how you say at the end of the day it's my call because it's my company.
Yes.
But you kind of take a lot of things into consideration of you might not know it all, and nobody does, right?
Nobody does.
You might know it all, and so you have to listen and require assistance from like various people around you.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful for them. Everyone, like my uncles, my aunts, like this is like much more of a family business than you could think because my main research and development
Yeah.
head of R&D, who makes like almost all of Ingu products, is my aunt. 'Cause she's a very accomplished
Wow.
chemist.
Wow.
And so okay, my dad's side of the family does the cosmetics. My mom's side of the family does printing. And so all of our boxes, all of our printing material is made by her.
Wow. It's like
So it's much more like intertwined.
really family business.
Exactly. Yeah. But there needs to be boundaries as well because I've seen with a lot of my friends and a lot of other families, Chinese gongxi families, there aren't boundaries, and then there's like conflicts within the
Yeah,
family
that
of like
could be a problem later.
and that is a problem that I've seen before with many people. And so starting this company, I made everything very clear cut, like who has the final say.
Yeah.
It's me. And although I really value your input, but at the end of the day, it's me who calls the shots.
Yeah. And do you still think this could work if you go global someday? Like if you want to take Ingu to international level or market or consumers, and you have to like expand everything, you might need to think different now of how to run the whole organization.
Yes. So actually, in the past year, we've scaled up a lot, like from 10 employees to now we have almost 50 employees just within the main office. And so we've had to hire consultants as well, accomplished people who have been in the industry, who know the best practices in how to do things to help me because I go by my gut feeling most of the time. I have imposter syndrome, honestly. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. So I do need a lot of help. And I think that we've created the structure that can be scaled internationally, or even if we scale locally, that could support the brand and the product. So for example, we're diversifying into using other factories as well, like factories from Korea, from Japan, who can also deliver the products that we need. We're diversifying our shipments, our packaging options. So not just staying with what the past generation knows, but also going out and finding resources that are more suitable for the new generation as well.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 27.
27.
Yes.
At the age of 27, how satisfied are you with your life right now?
I don't want to jinx it. I'm pretty satisfied, but I'm going to knock on wood a little bit.
Okay. All right.
I've been very fortunate to have my passion become my job. And for a lot of people that I've listened to, they always advise against it. You know, once your passion becomes your career, then you'll forever, not enjoy it, or you'll lose your interest or your enjoyment in it forever. But for me, I feel like it is the thing that motivates me even more to get up every day and do my best because it's actually what I enjoy to do.
I'm so happy that we get to talk
I'm
today.
so happy too. Honestly, this
Yeah.
is one of the most like enjoying interviews that I've done.
I'm glad. And you said this is your first like formal actual English interview, and
English,
you're
like-
doing great.
Oh, thank you so much. I was very nervous coming in because I haven't spoken English for this long in a while.
You're doing great. All right. So last but not least, I ask this to all my guests since our show is called comedy. So obviously we're obsessed with words,
Okay.
not just our word, but anybody else's word, right? So I want to know if you have your favorite word in both Thai and English. Comedy ของอิงคือคำอะไรครับ
The word that I feel like I want people to overcome is indifference.
Indifference.
Yes. Indifference means to be เฉยเมย, to be like, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really care about things, which I feel like it's fine. I'm indifferent about things all the time because you can't really be passionate about everything that you do, obviously. But there's also a line between indifference and
Complacent.
yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like if you don't do anything, then you're just gonna be stuck not doing anything at all. And if you're indifferent about everything all the time, then you're never going to be able to find that passion or stand for something that you believe in, or pick up your iPad and start filming something on the floor of your apartment. Because in college, I was very indifferent about everything. I was like, I just wanted to get good grades, graduate, and then I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just went into consulting because that's what everyone else was doing. I was very indifferent about my future until, as I've said, I took that step, got out of my comfort zone, and I found what changed my life forever. So sometimes being active, trying to find something new in your life, getting out of what you're used to, it can really change your life forever. Yeah.
I really like that.
Thank
Any
you.
Thai words you like?
Thai words?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not very good at Thai.
Okay. All right.
Thai words that I like. Honestly, I learn new Thai words all the time because my friends introduced them to me. The latest one apparently is Tuang Ta La Ba Di. Does anyone know what it means?
Tuang Ta La Ba Di.
Yeah.
So it's like the combination of Thai and English.
I don't know.
Body, like body?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tuang Ta La Ba Di.
Tuang Ta
I don't
like
know. Please
posture?
comment. I don't know. But apparently,
How do
he
you
told
use
me
it in
it
a
means
sentence?
มันแบบมันดูแล้วมันครบเครื่องมันดูแล้วแบบมันท่วงท่าและบาดี้ don't take my advice on this.
But that's one thing about like Thai. We like to
Oh my God,
rhyme.
the Thai language is so creative in ways that the English language will never be able to accomplish. Like some of these words, you คิดได้ยังไง Yeah, Thais are very creative. You have to give them that.
Yeah. All right. So good luck with all your business, your YouTube channel.
Thank you so much.
I'll go buy your product. I promise, because it sounds very attractive. Yeah.
Thank you
and
so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're very welcome. I'm really glad that I came here today. Honestly, this is the first interview I've done in English, and I've had so much fun. Maybe I need to do more content in English from
You
now
need to
on.
do more. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time as well. Right, so do we have to leave subscribe นู่นนี่นั่นอะไรอย่างงี้ไม่ต้องเลย so just end นี้เลย end นี้เลย โอเค
ผมเป็นยูทูบเบอร์จริง
อย่าลืมกดไลค์กด subscribe นะทุกคนขอบคุณนะครับสนุกมาก
ลูกค้าเปลี่ยนเร็วมากเลยทำยังไงถึงจะชนะคู่แข่งได้ ธุรกิจทำซัสเทนยังไงให้มันเวิร์กจริงๆ ใช้ AI ยังไงให้ได้ประโยชน์มากที่สุด เราจะทำให้เรื่องราวของธุรกิจนั้นสนุกเข้าใจง่ายและเอาไปใช้ประโยชน์ได้จริงๆ The Secret Sauce Summit 2024 ปีนี้ต่างจากปีที่ผ่านมาครับ CEO รุ่นใหญ่ๆ เก๋าๆ ประสบการณ์เยอะๆ เรายังเชิญเข้ามาอยู่ครับแต่ว่าเราจะเชิญตัวแทนของคนรุ่นใหม่ๆมาด้วยและเรายังมีเอ็กซ์เพิร์ทในมุมอื่นๆไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของ Biotech Neuroscience เรื่องของ TikTok เรื่องของ AI Sustain ทั้งหมดนี้จะทำให้คุณนั้นเป็นนักธุรกิจที่ชนะได้ในคลื่นใหม่ครับเจอกันวันที่ 5-6 กันยายนนี้ที่พารากอนฮอลล์สยามพารากอนซื้อบัตรได้แล้ววันนี้นะครับที่10 Event ครับ